Okay, so thanks for your confirmation there. But so let me just get into what is the meaning of self-respect, right? So there is a definition that is there in terms of a proper respect for oneself as a human being. Basically, what you're basically talking about here when you're talking about respect as a human being is about um, how is it that we see ourselves? How are we, I was talking about being able to, talk about strengths and weaknesses, being in a stable state where we are connected to our own self in a very, very stable manner. Regard for one's own standing or position, irrespective of what people really think about you. And that's where the whole concept of self-reliance is also emerging, and therefore so many ss, right? So when you talk about self-respect, it's basically regard for one's own standing or position, irrespective of what people think about you. So you are able to talk about strengths and weaknesses, and there is and it is not just at an external level, but it is at a very sort of a deeper level that we are connecting with ourselves to respect ourselves, because there are and what is that deeper level, so self respect is more important than always being seen as a really nice person. We have yesterday I was talking a little bit about tendency to please others, right? So this is something that we may have a tendency to do, and self-respect is that is very, very short term. It may work for a certain period of time, but what we're trying to do with this self-respect is more important than always being seen as a really nice person by others, right? So this is what we need to understand, that what self-respect is. So my question is self-respect a value, right? Because this is something we need to understand how to, because without uh, understanding whether it's a value or not, we will not be able to basically understand what it is, right? So is self-respect really a value, right? If see, what we need to understand here is, when we are saying self-respect, it is something deeper than an external thing. It is based on, it is not based on comparisons with others, but it is an intrinsic value, some value that all generally, which is very strong in their inside, which we need to tap. So that comes from knowing that you should be treated with dignity because you are a human being. So this value is like generosity, it can be compassion, it can be kindness. So these are some general things that is expected out of every human being. We as humans, there are certain intrinsic values that we have. So it is about being in touch with that intrinsic value. That's what is very, very important in this whole play of self-respect play that we are talking about. So the intrinsic value. But what is happening is we do not understand that self-respect it is an intrinsic value that comes from knowing that that value is inherently there in every human being. Human, there are certain values, intrinsic values, that every human has naturally. It is present inside, and we need to be in touch with that, right? So if you want to increase your self-respect, you have to stop comparing yourself with others or trying to keep up with them, because that will not allow you to be a human. Because every time there will be something that one person will be better than you for, and you may be better than that person. So that's not probably what self-respect is. Self-respect is linked to intrinsic value that every human being has. Okay, so it is not linked to what others think of you. It is not linked to how you keep comparing yourself with others. And if you keep comparing yourself with others, the value of being human and the intrinsic values that you carry, which is what it becomes very important, from a standpoint of you being self-respectful to your own self, because self-respect is a value. It is I want to repeat this, it is connected to your intrinsic values. Self-respect is, and how are you standing up to it? What is the position that you take? Are you standing up to those intrinsic values? It doesn't come by, because the moment you're not standing up to those values as a human, not as a person, but as a human, there are some common values that all of us have. If we are standing up to those values, then we automatically feel stable from inside. We don't, like, ask for it, that, or they say, or we don't say things like, that person is not respecting me, I feel disrespectful, this person has not done this to me, and things like that will not occur. Why? Because we are coming from a value of being in touch with that intrinsic value is what is self-respect. Okay, so, and being stable with that. Okay, so what do you understand? How do you then create it? So, I have a hypothetical situation where, if you just imagine that you remove the self from the respect, from the word self-respect, if you remove self, respect is left. And then there is a vacuum created because that self aspect is removed. When the self aspect is removed, suddenly you are wondering, what is this? And then you're trying to seek it from others. If self is added, then it is about respecting self for the values for myself. But if self is removed, the respect is standalone. And then what you're trying to do is you're trying to seek it from others. So respect from where? Respect from others. Respect from for the way the others behave, the way the others treat you, the way the others look at you, the way all those things come into play. And respect is left alone without the self. There is a vacuum, and to fill that vacuum, what you're trying to do is you're trying to seek it from others. Okay, so what, so you please understand, it's very simple, but so one thing that we need to understand is self-respect means that we are respecting our own sort of human intrinsic values and standing by it, standing by its position in a stable way. And if you remove self from the respect, then there is a vacuum created. And the way that you want to fill the vacuum is by seeking it from others. Suddenly that respect to self is gone. Okay, so what do you mean by that? What do you get respect for? There are two things, right? You are getting respect for your age, you're getting respect for the position, you're getting respect for the experience, you're getting respect for the knowledge, you're getting respect probably for something, the way you look like, the position, something that you have acquired. You get respect for that, but that has got nothing to do with the intrinsic value. So when you self-respect is always for the intrinsic values that you carry, and that is naturally present in every human being. As a human, there are certain intrinsic values. As an ant, there is a difference between an ant and a human. Ant has, it doesn't, probably is not thinking, okay, what is my intrinsic value? We have that. But as a human, there are some common intrinsics like kindness, compassion, generosity, purity, divinity. So how pure. So these are certain things that are naturally present in a human being. And are we in touch with those values? If we are in touch with those values, then we are actually respecting our own self. So there is a difference. Where are you gaining this respect from? You're gaining the respect for age, for knowledge, for the experience you're acquiring, for the position you've acquired. But once that goes away, respect is gone, right? So when respect is gone, then what happens to the self-respect? It is again, the self is removed and only respect is left. So again, there is a vacuum. All these years you have studied, you have gained marks, you have graduated, you have post-graduated, you are in a office situation, you got promoted. So this is all knowledge, experience, age, but it's without the self. So in the word self-respect, self is not there. It's all the time what you've been doing is you are trying to seek appreciation. You're trying to seek approval. You're trying to seek something from others for something that you're doing through knowledge, through experience, through age, through position that you have acquired. So if the self from the respect is removed, respect is, there is a vacuum, and that vacuum, I'm just repeating it again and again. So that vacuum is basically nothing but something that you do to gain respect from others, and if they don't do that, then you again feel that there is a vacuum. So the moment you add s, self, to the respect, it is about intrinsic values. It is about how respectful are you with your intrinsic values, common values as a human being has, which are kindness, compassion, generosity, purity, dignity, which is naturally present in every human being, which has got sullied due to various other things that we are seeking for, which has got sullied because of age, knowledge, experience, and that self in the self-respect is getting left. And every time you're only trying to seek respect, appreciation, approval from others, trying to fill the vacuum. This is what we need to understand. So the moment when is vacuum created? When you remove the word self from the word self-respect, there is a vacuum. How do we fill the vacuum? With our desires and expectations from the outer world, because respect is not coming from self but from outside. So the moment you are seeking respect from outside, it is a never ending process. It's a vicious circle. That means this, in the word self-respect, self does not exist, and you're always, there is always a vacuum, and always you expect. So someone comes home, that in various cultures there are various things that people do. So you give a chair for an each person to sit. Whatever, you touch people's feet. In various cultures it is different, various religions it is different. It's not only about that, but suppose for some reason a particular person doesn't do that, then you suddenly feel that person is disrespectful. Then what has happened? The moment you feel the person has not done that, okay, then again the self from the respect, self-respect is gone away, and there is a vacuum created because you expect the other person to do it for you. And if it is not done, then there is an expectation from the outer world to fill the vacuum. And this is, it just goes on, and it can be for every little thing that you keep seeking it from others, and the result is that you demand it. You start demanding the respect, that we need to get respect from outside external factors all the time, and to fill the vacuum, which is a standalone respect, not self-respect, just respect. Because without self, if it is just respect, you're trying to seek it from outside, from through external factors. What is it leading to? It is actually leading to dependency, external factors that we acquire, and the behavior with others. The way others behave with you, you are dependent on that. And each person's behavior will be different. So it will never be the same. So it's such a battle. Position today will be there, tomorrow will vanish. External factors and behavior of people is never constant. So you will always be in this vicious circle of depending on others' behaviors, external factors, for you to fill the vacuum of respect or to seek respect. So what do you, in vacuum which had to be filled is never constant and never gets filled, because you're always dependent on external factors for filling that vacuum. And what happens is you are seeking, asking for respect, demanding for respect, doing something so that we get respect, sometimes feeling disrespected, don't we? Because there is so much of distance, because every time we are doing this, the self is gone, self part is gone. Because self-respect together as a word, as I told you, is actually about respecting our own intrinsic values inside, deep within, which every human being has. Certain common things are compassion, kindness, generosity, purity, whatever it is. If we are able to respect, because the moment we respect that, that becomes self-respect. Then there is no dependency. Whether the person pulls the chair for you to sit, or whether the person shakes the hands, whether the person is looking at you in a proper way or not, whether the person is commenting on the dress that you wear or not, whether the person is saying something that has hurt you or not, doesn't matter, because you are dependent on yourself, self intrinsic values of generosity, divinity, purity, compassion. So sometimes we are left feeling disrespected most of the times, because we are expecting it from external factors which will never ever get fulfilled. Each person is different and expectations are different, right? So this dependency, if it has to be removed, so the process becomes so deep. So it's like a programming in our head. And this is what I keep also saying in my level 2, which is the gold level. Programming, which is the brain insight, 6 insights of the brain. How are we programming ourselves? We are programming ourselves that that person has not pulled the chair for me to sit down. That person has not touched my feet. The person has not done certain things, and therefore I feel disrespectful. So that's the kind of habit formation or programming that we keep recording. We keep wiring and affirming that behavior of ours, and every time it doesn't happen, we feel disrespected. So seeking respect from others becomes a deep. It becomes deep and very difficult to do. So appreciation, recognition, as that is the symbol, that becomes the symbol of respect. What becomes the symbol of respect is basically getting that approval, getting that. I would always want approval from my husband. Anything that I do, this is at least initial years of my marriage, you always are seeking approval. Okay, whether he will like it or not. Either, as I said, and you will have your own relationships with where you're seeking these approvals from. It could be, as I said, your close mother, your father, brother, whoever it is, so that's one of the reasons why. And it took me some time to understand that, I'll need to see, when you are very grounded with your self-respect, intrinsic values. There's also some a value assessment that I do as part of the one-to-one coaching format. Those are your values, but your values and the intrinsic common values, when you bring this together, you will see how they all it needs to be expressed. And when you become grounded with that, right, when you give, it becomes very easy for you to be able to start saying no to people. All these things that we are doing right from day 1 to today's day 12 is about how we understand this, and slowly being are able to actually say a no when it is required, because we are then becoming very stable from inside. So then we're not really looking for appreciation, recognition, approval from others. That is not anymore a symbol of respect. That if I get that appreciation, then I feel respectful. If I get that approval, then I feel respectful, or else I feel disrespectful, which is then becoming an external factor, right? So asking for respect, demanding for respect, doing something so that we get respect, sometimes feeling this is what becomes deep. This whole thing that you see, this programming becomes deep. Simple things start hurting you because this is the programming. The programming is that I am not respected, self-respected. My self-respect is hurt because you're demanding it from others, right? So true self-respect is like, it behaves well with self, very much, you're in touch with your intrinsic values, behaves well with others. Does not see, the moment you are behaving well with self, you will automatically radiate that energy, and then others will start automatically behaving in the way you want, right? Does not need really outside approval or recognition. Seat of respect does not change, because when you are expecting it from external factors, the seat of respect keeps changing, because every person's expectations are different. Here it is not, seat of respect is within you, so it doesn't change. So it's solid and intrinsic, right? So what do we need to do so that people respect me? The way we look, what we wear, what we eat, the way we live, the way we buy, all these things we start doing become external. What I'm trying to say is the way we look, what we wear, what we eat, the way we live, the way we buy, the way we do everything becomes external, because what we are trying to do is to seek respect from outside. In the word self-respect, self is gone and only respect is there. And that creates a vacuum, and we're seeking that from outside. And the moment we're seeking it from outside, there are huge issues. And it's a vicious circle. Okay. And so when is the vacuum created? As I said, people should respect me. The moment you say that, there is vacuum created. The moment you say that I need people to respect me, vacuum is created. If we keep looking for it from outside, what happens is there is an intrinsic values that are actually present within you, which you are not using. And you go on seeking this from outside, and the more you seek it from outside, this gets depleting. That's why you have a low self-respect, leading to low self-esteem, leading to low everything. It's all automatically linked, because if you're stable there, then everything will fall in place. So if we keep looking for it outside, the intrinsic value lowers and the value of yourself also reduces. Okay, so the more and more we do this, the more bigger the vacuum becomes. So having said this, the more people feel insulted, okay, and ego is hurt, what it means is they are more not in touch with their intrinsic values. So when I say that person has insulted me, that and my ego has got hurt, what it means is you're seeking it from outside, so that intrinsic values is you're not in touch with something that is already present. So we are more dependent on people's behavior from outside. So when we feel insulted, when we feel the ego is hurt, it only means that we are not actually creating the right kind of thoughts about that individual. The moment we create the right kind of thoughts, I keep saying TEA, thought, emotions, actions, right? If you create that, you will radiate the energy of that person. What are the kind of thoughts? It's not pure, it's not pure, right? So the moments we create the right kind of thought for that individual, that will get radiated, and that individual will also create the same kind of energy or thought with you. So then there is no question of getting hurt or feeling the insult, because you have created the right kind of a thought, which has created the appropriate energy radiating that energy, which is pure, and then you will get. This is not easy, but it is definitely something we need to strive, or at least start getting aware that the point is that whenever you feel you are insulted, you feel you are hurt, it is actually you, it is not them. Because you're seeking that kind of a behavior from others. So we are more dependent on people's behavior from outside. Okay. So that's about self-respect. So we should never remove the self from the word self-respect, because the moment the word self is removed from respect, respect is standing alone and creating a vacuum. And to fill the vacuum, you're seeking things from outside, which is demanding respect, appreciation, approval, ego, all that comes in because you feel that others are not. So your behavior is really dependent on external factors. Also on the way other people behave, which is not at all a constant, which is not in your control. They say, right, in quality, you have to map which is in scope and which is out of scope. What is out of scope is definitely what like how people behave, or and that is affecting you. The thing is that is out of scope and that affects us, right? So very philosophical but very deep, right? We are more dependent on people's behavior from outside. So today's affirmation is about I do not need respect from anybody. That's the affirmation. And this is, we'll say it together while doing that. That's again a beautiful quote from Ralph. Be not the slave of your own past. Plunge into the sublime seas, dive deep, and swim far. So you shall come back with new self-respect, with new power, and with an advanced experience that shall explain and overlook the old. It has a lot of meaning in it. And if we move from this programming that, I feel that person has to respect me, instead of that, if you say that I don't need respect from anybody, but what I need is actually to be in touch with my own intrinsic values all the time, because everything is there in me. To be in touch with that, the moment you feel stable with that, which is examples being kindness, compassion, generosity, purity, divinity, all these things, right? These are common for all human beings. If you are in touch with that, that is that is values, intrinsic values. At the moment you're not, then so you don't need respect from anybody. You start giving it, you start radiating it, and people will then respect you. So the assignment is list of things that makes you feel not respected. Just list it down, and then you basically need to say this: I do not need respect from anybody. And what I'm going to be doing in my course is I'm going to develop a framework for all of this, for you to be able to practice it together. There'll be templates that you will take, and sort of a habit kind of a tracker that will be there. Okay, so can we now unmute and sort of do the affirmation on I do not need respect from anybody? And so let me do that with a little bit of music there. I think this is not okay. That's fine. I'm just seeing if this is working. I don't know why it's not working. It may be a little loud.
Baby, this is do or die.
Okay, so can we say it together that I do not need respect from anybody? You really don't need that. So let me just lower the volume of this, and then.
But the Mariona came like the thunder. I was on my way to going under. Swimming in the pain, yeah, I was covered.
Okay, so we go with this and we will say it together. Okay, so I'm going to go 3, 2, 1. All together we say it together. So phase 1, give a clap. Phase 2, give a clap. Phase right, and we follow the way. Thank you so much for everyone and me. And here again. 3, 2, 1.
I do not need respect from anybody.
Go ahead and say it together.
I do not need respect from anybody.
I do not need respect from anybody.
Yes, so I think this music is not really helping here. Let me just, increase the volume, and we will say it together. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So let's now say it together. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
I do not
need respect from anybody.
Beautiful. Second time.
I do not need respect from anybody.
Last time.
I do not need respect from anybody.
Beautiful. So you make a list of things that makes you feel not respected. Be aware of it, and then see what is. It's actually, whenever you're feeling that, it is actually that you're not in touch with your intrinsic values, human values, the common intrinsic human values. Okay, and of course it's a different assessment that I do on value assessment about your own values. It'll be linked. Okay, Perfect. Thank you so much, ladies. So tomorrow's session, I'm going to be deciding whether it's going to be another offshoot of respect, or I'll be taking something on self-compassion.
Hello.
I'll let you all know. 5 p.m. Yes.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that was to my daughter. Sorry.
Okay, sure. So 5 p.m. tomorrow, either another offshoot of respect or self-compassion. Okay. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.